Hello, I'm Dan Cook with BoneZone, and welcome to 3D Systems webinar on ways to elevate your manufacturing with 3D printing. Presenting today are Markus Reichmann, Director of Global Business Development and Manufacturing Solutions at 3D Systems, and Troy Olson, Director of Operations in the Additive Manufacturing Division at RMS Company. I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few words about 3D Systems. The company's capabilities span from concept and design to regulatory clearance and device manufacturing. You can rely on them to develop high-quality implants, instruments, and models, and can leverage their 360-degree approach to additive manufacturing to accelerate innovation and personalize patient outcomes. 3D Systems' commitment to innovation has led to the manufacture of more than 2 million devices and the delivery of more than 150,000 patient-specific cases and supported more than 100 FDA-cleared or CE-marked devices. Before we begin, a quick note to let you know that Markus and Troy will take questions after their presentation. With that, I'd like to hand it over to Markus.
Thanks, Dan, and welcome everyone. I'm excited about today's webinar and the opportunity to talk to Troy Olson from RMS. RMS has been an early adopter of our technology and has successfully scaled their additive manufacturing capabilities over the years. Troy himself is a true entrepreneur in the industry. I'm eager to hear his insight on what it takes to successfully implement 3D printing, how offering this technology to customers is opening new revenue streams, and the challenges he and his team has encountered. So let's dive in and explore how 3D printing can elevate your manufacturing. Troy, some people might not be familiar with RMS to the last detail, so why don't you give just our attendees a brief overview on who RMS is?
Yeah, no, thank you, Markus. I really appreciate the opportunity here to kind of tell a little bit of our additive journey and kind of a little bit of our story. And you know, what we like to say is it's a journey, right? We're not done with this. We obviously have a place that we started, but it's a continuous journey for us. As far as RMS is concerned, so we're actually a division of Pretext Medical, and within that family of Pretext Medical, our RMS, we're pretty much a contract manufacturing machining division of that. Been in business a little over 50 years, been in med device about the same amount of time for precision machining. Today, we offer a full slate of capabilities here. So from state-of-the-art equipment, I think you'll find some of the equipment here that you could only find in North America under our building. We're constantly looking for competitive advantages and different technologies that can help us satisfy our customers and really what they're looking to accomplish. And in doing that, we have over 900 CNC machining centers within our breadth of capabilities within 2 different locations. We really took on this additive manufacturing capability back in 2016 when we brought the first direct metal printing technology in. But we also have a full complement of machining 5-axis with turning, multi-axis machining, different forms of EDM wires and sinkers, metal fabrication, really for cases and trays sterilization. We also have the capability to do other medical products or metal products within the medical space as well. And then a full complement of secondary operations, from deburring to assembly to anodizing, laser marking, really every aspect of the manufacturing process for med device we pretty much have under one roof here. And then when we take a look at really our square footage, we're just shy of 500,000 total square feet and really have a plan to continue to grow our footprint as far as manufacturing space is concerned over the next couple of years. We're looking at expansions right now, opportunities and different scenarios where we want to expand to. That's kind of a brief overlay of what RMS is capable of doing.
Thanks, Troy. I think it's truly impressive. So let's dive a little bit into the technical side of AM. Additive manufacturing can add a lot of benefits. We all know that when developing a production process or bringing in a new medical device to the market. 2 of the most, I think, well-known benefits are nimble, more flexible production setup, or, for instance, the ability to economically manufacture complex geometries. Can you maybe talk a little bit how RMS has integrated AM and the benefits you observed with your team?
Yeah, for sure. When we took a look at additive manufacturing, really our journey started in 2015. We really took the approach of really being a complementary technology to really our current stable of capacity or capabilities. So in doing so, we wanted to really combine the additive manufacturing benefits with precision manufacturing, looking at it through really both lenses. When we look at a particular project or product, what best suits that application, and what's best for our customers as far as cost considerations. And really kind of understanding that we knew that we wanted to be able to be in the end be a vertically integrated business unit, so that we could control our own capacity plan, that we could control our own process flow as well. And so when we think about that vertically integrated powder to package, is kind of what kind of our tagline is, really being able to take a customer's purchase order and a digital file all the way through the manufacturing process to a sterile packaged product being delivered to a customer, and then managing that entire workflow in one business group. That didn't happen overnight. That took a few years to develop. But when we take a look at the advantages, that's kind of what we took a look at. Let's take our current manufacturing capabilities and QMS system. Let's integrate the additive manufacturing disciplines. And then with the benefits really here, we're leveraging the best of both, right? Leveraging the best at additive manufacturing and then traditional machining. What we really did is we looked at marrying the two. Do all of the creative design things we can do with additive manufacturing, and then really kind of couple that with the precision of machining. And so we get really kind of the best of both worlds. And then the whole powder to package vision that we started out with was really to really improve not just the quality, but to reduce the lead times. We get immediate feedback if we're having an issue with a downstream operation with a printing or a post operation. We get that real-time feedback. We can react. So from the advantages standpoint, I think we've been able to leverage that as a business unit as we've grown. And then I also like to add the partnership that we had with 3D Systems, really specifically early on, the lessons learned. This technology was all new to us, and it was very foreign, and there was a lot that we needed to learn to integrate that into our process flow. And really, the 3D Systems people really came along with the technical experience, the technical knowledge, to bridge that gap from us really being novice to really kind of where we're at today, and really sharing those lessons learned. So that I think that's really been our advantages.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. I think you mentioned two really good points, like partnerships and experience are two crucial areas to save time. And a lot of the discussions always is around time to market. So especially for startups and companies with an exit strategy, the short time to market is absolutely crucial. Could you expand a little bit on how you have seen the development cycles change in projects where AM plays a big role?
Yeah, for sure. So time to market, I mean, obviously that's critical to all of our customers as well. And when we're taking a look at a new project, and we're developing prototypes along that, multiple different iterations, really what we find is that we can modify that geometry much quicker than a traditional subtractive manufacturing, where you might have work holding considerations, you might have tool holder considerations, you might have machine code considerations from one generation to the next. There's a substantial amount of time that goes into that, where from our 3D Systems and additive manufacturing approach, we can make functionality changes, we can make design changes, and not just quickly, but we can put a number of different design considerations on a specific build plate. So if we're looking at 3 or 4 different design considerations, we can actually produce those design considerations simultaneously. And then we can evaluate which ones are performing better than the others. And that can help us lead us down a path much quicker to get our customers and their products to market much quicker because of that. The other consideration that we look at is assemblies, and there could be multiple components for assembly. We can print all of those components, those individual components, simultaneously as well, and then see how the form, fit, and function of all of those components, and then we can go back and make design changes and considerations really based upon that. So it really aids in that R&D, that speed to market up front, and then really kind of taking a look at how many components are actually going into that assembly, and is there a way for us to integrate 2 or 3 or more components from the assembly into one component. So it really gives us some design freedoms. It gives us some creativity, gives us some tools that we traditionally haven't had in the past in traditional manufacturing, subtractive manufacturing. So really, we see that helps us get there. I put a note on here, patient matched implants. That's something we're navigating now. We're kind of looking into that as being able to be a provider of those resources. We cover that a little bit further in one of the other slide decks. And then really, working with 3D systems, we've done this a number of times where, we've engaged with customers and projects, and we've presented a unified front, really when it comes to design considerations or when it comes to maybe surge capacity. Just really the collaboration that we've had over the years has really demonstrated and really been part of our, really the level of success that we have been afforded. Really has a lot to do with the partnership and open communication that we've really established over the years.
I think there are a lot of good points in there, Troy, and I'm sure we will touch base. I will come back to that later on in the Q&A section. But what I also want to highlight is, and it shows right here on your slide, like having a repeatable, robust process to guide customers through the development phase is absolutely minimizing risk for additional loops, for additional iterations, and in the end minimizes your time to market significantly. So I really love the slide you have here. Let's pivot a little bit and let's talk about financials. Implementing a new technology always comes with a financial risk. We know that, no matter what it is. We here at 3D Systems are trying to mitigate the risk for our clients, since we're able to support partners with machining capabilities to cover initial production until it really makes sense to buy the next machine, or maybe cover peaks in demand if there is a just over the year fluctuation in forecast. Happy to help with those. But Troy, how has RMS managed some of these unknowns when entering additive manufacturing? I can only imagine there were some considerations going in front.
Yeah, again, so we wind the clock back to 2015, 2016, when we just really kind of got involved in this. Really, a key component of it is really having support from a corporate level, because getting started, just getting our feet off the ground, so to speak, was pretty expensive. The capital investment was pretty steep, and the fact that we were just starting to learn how to navigate and manage the equipment really took a kind of invest and hold approach. So really, from risk mitigation up front, just having that corporate support right from the get-go was really assurance for us. And then understanding how are your customers utilizing that. And what we did is we really went out and we surveyed our customers. And we wanted to find out where were they at with their additive journey. Now, we're in med device, primarily titanium. So when we understood that we had customers that had some commercially released products out there, we had some customers that were just starting to kick the tires a little bit, so to speak, on what additive could possibly do for them. And then we had another group of customers that were completely out of the loop on what, powder bed fusion or medical additive manufacturing might be able to provide them. So understanding where your market is, understanding where your customers are, getting out there and getting engaged with them, and understanding what needs they might have and how you can apply this new technology, and build them as part of your risk mitigation. The other part of our risk mitigation that we took is really we knew we wanted to get to a fully internally supported business unit that controlled our own P&L, controlled our own capacity plans. But in order to get there, we took a real step-by-step approach. We got a printer, we got 2 or 3 printers, and then as we started looking at the process flow of separating parts from build plates, removing build supports, from printing, we just took a systematic approach and just kept on adding that support to eventually get to a fully vertically integrated business unit. Took about 3-4 years to really get to that point. But again, part of the risk mitigation was doing it in a systematic approach to mitigate the risk that we didn't want to just jump right into this and take on a lot of risk. So we took baby steps, so to speak. And then the other part of risk mitigation for us, when we're looking at a new technology, whether it's a machining platform or this additive manufacturing, we go out and we partner with a key suppliers. And part of that recognition of what makes a key supplier is really these 3 points that I have on here, right? So we went out, we looked at all different kinds of technologies. We wanted to understand what were the capabilities. 3D Systems is really the system we honed in on. And first and foremost, the equipment needs to perform. It needs to perform day after day, day in, day out. We see that with this equipment. Service after the sale, we absolutely need to have the dedicated staff that's going to support us, not only from a maintenance standpoint to keep the equipment maintained and doing what it needs to do, but also educating us in the best practices of how do we use this technology, how do we keep this technology competitive, and then scalability. Again, we have 34 printers now, pretty much 24/7 around the clock in production, right? And so we need to understand that can a supplier scale with us? And happy to say that all 3 of those key bullet points, 3D Systems has been able to provide. And I get asked if would we make the same decision today, right? If we had an opportunity to select another technology, would 3D Systems still be the technology that we would choose today? And I can say absolutely. I can say that because we have tens of thousands of points of data of consistent testing that really says that this technology is really, a gold standard for us. So, we're always looking for new technologies, looking for improvements, but what we have today, we have a high degree of confidence that the quality of the product is going to come day in and day out.
Thanks, Troy. I think I love your point of like the corporate level buy-in right on the top. I think it's so important to understand and to acknowledge, hey, there will be a learning curve associated with bringing in a new technology. And we are certainly able to steepen that learning curve and help customers getting validated, getting operational ready. But it's still a learning curve for everybody, and even maybe in some cases associated to a change of mindset in terms of what you have seen before with milling and some other conventional machining equipment. So when talking to OEMs, it becomes more and more clear to me that managing suppliers is becoming an expensive luxury. Like with that in mind, companies are trying to reduce their approved supplier lists, and they're looking for partners who have end-to-end capabilities. So, Troy, how has the adoption of additive manufacturing and complementing your already significant existing offerings later on with 3D printing helped creating sustainable revenue streams?
Yeah, when I was thinking about this, it really just kind of boiled down to what we believe is our value proposition to our customers, and it goes across all of our manufacturing technologies and disciplines, and really it's really offering our customers world-class quality, that every day that we ship product to them, that they can expect that their product is going to be exactly what they expect it to be. And then couple that as well with those world-class service. Just communicate to our customers. Sometimes we may over-communicate, but just really making sure that we're engaged with our customers and that they're getting the information in real time and we're communicating to them. And then really keeping our pricing where it's competitive, right? We understand that it's a competitive landscape out there, and there's, our customers have opportunities to do work with a number of different, suppliers. We need to understand that, we want to offer quality and customer service at a world-class level. We also have to make sure that our pricing is within line. No one's going to pay a premium to do business with us. So, those key factors are really the foundational approach to just all of our business units. And when a 3D system partnership really comes in, is really helping us leverage like surge capacity. When we're doing launches, or we see that one of our customers may have an inventory adjustment that they need some additional components. We've leveraged that capabilities in our validation strategies between RMS and 3D systems. That's allowed us to have that flexibility, right? That allow us that our customers don't necessarily have to feel a long lead time, because we collaborate between RMS and 3D systems, and we've used each other's resources to keep the product flowing to our customers. And then this high value project and applications. There's projects out there that we've joined forces on that have definitely been challenging the technology from a 3D printing standpoint, as well as a post processing, machining, cleaning, polishing. So, I look at additive manufacturing still as an emerging technology. There's a lot of lessons learned that we learn every single day, and really having that partnership with 3D systems and utilizing your expertise and our experience. I think it's for our customers, it's a good value.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. We are still learning every day on the additive manufacturing side. But for our customers, quality is a non-negotiable. I think there is nobody who says, oh, it's going to be 3D printed, so I take a hit on the quality. That's not going to happen. And since additive manufacturing as itself is more and more considered a commodity, I think the competitive pricing becomes more important than ever before. Like, if we want to access large joints and compete with already existing lean process flows and established over many years, I think pricing is going to be an important one. And we come to that, I think, in one of our next slides. But it always sounds easy, and we talked a little bit about implementing additive. We all know the devil is in the detail, and without disclosing any company secrets, Troy, would you mind sharing some of the challenges you had in setting up and scaling metal 3D printing on your production floor?
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to, right? I mean, we could have taken an hour more just to cover this slide. So kind of abbreviated, brought down just high level things, and really one of the earlier challenges was just really understanding 3D printing from an infrastructure standpoint. What are we going to need to do to actually put together a sustainable production floor with powdered titanium, and understanding that's a reactive metal, and there's different considerations. And even though we did our homework up front and we really try to understand all the aspects of it, we didn't want to suffer paralysis from analysis. We wanted to have an understanding of what we needed to do, and kind of continue to learn along the way, and just really understanding the storage of titanium powder. I think we've changed our proper PPE here. I think we're probably on the third or fourth generation of PPE, because the industry changes, our understanding changes, regulations change. So again, we've got to be pretty nimble in that. And then really kind of considering what does the construction look like? Just the construction alone to put the infrastructure to put 3D printers in a reactive metal environment was a consideration that I think we understood early on, but when it actually came into practice and putting it together, we learned a lot. There was challenges, and I'm happy to say we just had a review here in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and we came through that safety review with flying colors. A couple of observations that we want to address, but other than that, we feel very comfortable with the actual infrastructure, the way that we're handling our powder. Again, constantly wanting to understand what regulations might change. from an ERP system, process flow, it was completely different from a traditional release material to the production floor, manufacture it in a machining state, do your post-processing, and then ship your product out. Don't want to oversimplify that, but that it's a very vertical process flow, something we've done for decades. From additive manufacturing standpoint, when you actually think about it, we're actually printing an assembly. So you have 2 or 3 SKUs or components on a part on a bill plate. We have different test coupons that have different testing requirements. And then we remove all of those components. So basically, we're disassembling disassembled product. And then all these products either are going to go out to a heat treating process, they come back and they're going to go to different manufacturing processes. Some will be manufactured, some will go to testing. And then we had to bring all that back together. We had to bring the components back together, test results back together, all of to construct the CFC. And so our ERP system was challenged with actually starting with an assembly, disassembling it, reassembling it. And even today, we're still working through some of those issues of tracking, not so much tracking, but just managing that overall workflow. The other thing was understanding scheduling and understanding what a capacity plan would look like, because from a traditional manufacturing standpoint, we can see the jobs that are coming in and we can allocate those times to different work centers, and we can see basically on setup time and production time how long a project is particularly going to take, and then we can stack in work behind it, and we've built a capacity plan. We do the same thing when it comes to additive, but the printers add a different level or an additional level of complexity to that. And when you think about, we want to put a particular part into a printer, and maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks today as we're scheduling our out, we have to take into consideration how much powder will actually be in that machine. Can the height of that part actually be in that printer at this time 2 weeks from now? And along that lines, where's a powder life? How far within our life of that powder are we before we have to remove that powder as it exceeds like oxygen content? We have laser hour considerations, part of our validation strategy and part of our preventive maintenance schedule as well. And then understanding when is that powder going to be in that machine to a volume that no longer is economical to build product with, but yet needs to be sieved and then reintroduced back to that machine. And then what parts at that part level can we do? And trying to understand that, all of that 2 3 weeks out from today is challenging. But then add the fact that we have 34 printers on top of that. So the overall stable of printers managing just that scheduling, we don't have it all figured out today. We've gotten much better with that, and we've put software and done things to put in place to have a better idea and a handle on that. But we're still working through understanding the whole scheduling of just the printers alone. And in all these challenges that we've encountered here, how we've navigated that with 3D systems really is just sharing lessons learned, because they've been doing this longer than we have, and understanding how they've integrated some of these scheduling situations, how their process flow might work, as well as just the infrastructure of how to go about utilizing the proper PPE and having communications about material handling and infrastructure considerations. So, I could spend a whole hour deep diving into this, and this is just at the very high level of some of our challenges.
Yeah, and I love the transparency, Troy. This is awesome. There are so many things to unpack here. I have to admit, I enjoy the lessons learned a lot. We do have a couple of our own machines running here in Littleton and in our facility in Leuven, which really helps us to get a feedback loop and to improve our systems. But getting feedback from our partners, especially partners like yourself, who are running our machines on a large scale and pushing the limits in terms of efficiency, helps us tremendously to consistently improve software and our machine hardware to just keep pushing the boundaries of additive manufacturing out there. So Thanks a lot for that. Troy, I know we touched on costs earlier, but I think I really want to go back on this and maybe dive a little bit deeper. In my opinion, pricing is something where the machine user and machine manufacturer have to work hand in hand. We talked about feedback loops just on the last slide. We here at 3D Systems are pushing the limits with scan strategies, bigger layer thicknesses, smarter support strategies to allow customers using the benefits of additive manufacturing for a broader range of applications, while obviously maintaining an economically viable price structure. So how do you look at this from a user point of view?
Yeah, again, this industry is continues to change, right? And technology changes, software is changing, and how do we leverage all of those changes to really affect the overall cost? And so when we're looking at it from a cost standpoint and really understanding, to your point, build strategies, supports, building parts with the least amount of supports. I think the other thing that comes into this is the complexity of the design. The more complex the design, I mean, the more cost effective it really ends up being for us. We've been approached multiple times on a traditional manufacturing component, and there's always this conception, well, if you 3D printed it, it must be cheaper than if we traditionally manufacture it, whether it's a turning part or a milled part. And anything, and that's anything but the truth. Additive manufacturing has its place, but it has to be effective. We have to manage the cost. Really, when we take a look at the design complexity, the personalization, those are definitely areas that additive manufacturing really shines, because as it gets more and more complex, it really doesn't increase the overall build time, but it would definitely increase the overall traditional manufacturing time when it comes to generating code for a CNC or a manufacturing piece of equipment. Really understanding where the market is going to go. How do we introduce more products that really need that osseointegration, that bone adherence, large joints. We're looking at extremities now. We really started out in the spine space. I think that's really where we got our foundational launch area. But now we're looking at other applications that really like near net shapes, where we normally think of like an investment casting or maybe a MIM part, and we're finding opportunities and avenues there where we can be cost competitive based upon complex geometries and maintenance of tools and things like that. So again, there's so much going on, and understanding how software is gonna help create change and inefficiencies to really to leverage for our customers. I hope that kind of helps explain a little bit of what we look at for efficiencies when managing costs.
It does, and I appreciate the comments actually. Like, yeah, we also a lot of the industry really gained momentum with spine cages, and I think at that point there was always a really good strong marketing story around like scaffold structure, and like the pricing was maybe not like at the very top of the list. Now that we are entering other areas, pricing becomes more and more crucial and challenging, and I think all the points you are mentioning are absolutely valid. So with that being said, Troy, nobody has a crystal ball, but you have a lot of experience in the industry. So in 1 or 2 sentences, tell us a bit how you think about the additive manufacturing device industry, and where do you think the whole industry is evolving towards over the next years?
Yeah, I think when we look at where we've come from, where we are today, and then what does the future hold, right? Where are we going with this? And we've got a great deal of history. A lot of this is going to be driven by customers and end users understand what are those advantages, right? And really understanding from a design optimization position, right? What are the things that we are going to be able to leverage that traditionally haven't been able to be accomplished? I mean, when we're designing, the design engineers of today and of the future, living in that 3-dimensional world and being able to make designs that that are very complex that in a traditional manufacturing sense would be unmanufacturable. Well, what are those going to be like, and how does AM play a part in that? And we're talking about, from an RMS standpoint, medical device that are implantable. Where else within med device do we start leveraging this technology for instrumentation and maybe non-implantable products? And we're seeing some opportunities open up as design considerations are being done around additively manufacturing versus traditional. Understanding how the technologies are going to continue to evolve and get quicker and faster and more cost competitive. We talk about multiple lasers, we talk about modified scan paths, we talk about different softwares that are going to be able to manipulate the actual build of the components in a more quicker, efficient time frame. Not that what we're doing today isn't efficient, but just like machine tools of 40 years ago, we aren't using any machine tools here that are 40 years old. I don't anticipate we're going to be using printers here that are 40 years old. So we have to understand, how is that technology going to continue to advance? And then really, I want to touch on AI here, because none of us really understand how that is going to play a role in all of this and everything, right? We're in the early innings of really artificial intelligence, and I think we'd be naive to not believe that this will play some role in the future. And really, we don't know what that is today. We just need to have our ear to the ground, understand what that might be part of that conversation, and be willing to utilize that technology, because I really think that AI is definitely going to play a role in all manufacturing, not just additive manufacturing. So that's really kind of what, from an RMS standpoint, we see the future of additive kind of going.
Great outlook and great summary. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, Troy. I think we are running a little bit short on time. So what I want to do here is opening the Q&A section. I see there are a lot of questions already coming in. One of the questions that fits already to what we discussed earlier is the one I'm picking here. So it says, do you see the demand for more complexity and personalization driving adoption of AM? I think we already talked a little bit about personalization in the AM or in the medical device industry. So what's your thought? Do you think that the customer request and customer demand for personalized devices is really giving AM a push?
I think it's definitely an area that we will continue to see growth opportunity in. Understanding how to build that effective and efficient process flow that really can get product turned around, within just a couple of weeks, versus our traditional manufacturing process flow. Really looking to truncate all of those steps along the way, from volume, that we're basically running 24/7, trying to keeping those printers printing. How do we integrate a one-off, and then how do we make that one-off go through all those process steps in an expedited manner? And from an RMS standpoint, we're looking at it as almost a separate business unit, one that still utilizes all of our lessons learned and all of our technical abilities, but really breaking it from the production, mass production process flow. We're working on that now. I think that as time goes by, we'll see more and more. We're getting a lot of requests now for that. And I think it really is going to be key to us understanding what is that end process flow, because we do go powder to package, right? We can print the implant, we can process it all the way through to a sterile packaging. But what steps along those ways do we need to truncate? Heat treat is a good example. We can't spend a couple of weeks out at a hipping house. What are other considerations that we can do to actually reduce that time between surgeon's request and the actual surgical procedure? So again, I think there's opportunity there.
Interesting topic for me as well. I love the area. I think it's interesting to look at it also from a pricing point of view. And you mentioned some of the challenges you have with your ERP system, like that already comes in if you set up a patient-specific workflow. And I think the RMS approach, try to keep it separate, makes a lot of sense for both reasons: the financial aspect and maybe the planning side and the like just workflow side. I think we have quite time for one more question, and let me just pick one I find interesting myself. So, Troy, maybe you can comment on how does RMS ensure that the quality and compliance of 3D printed medical devices meet industry standards? You touched on it earlier, but maybe you wanna just reiterate a little bit what RMS is doing to keep the standard high and ensure that, like I said earlier, quality is a non-negotiable, to make sure that there is no doubt on the quality side.
Yeah, I first and foremost, I mean, we're an FDA registered medical device manufacturer. So I think first you have to understand you got to have ISO certification 13485. And then on top of that, really having a good working understanding of ISO F3001. Really, for us, that's really one of our guidance documents here as far as when it comes to medical device manufacturing, for additive manufacturing. Along the way, we have invested not only just in the printing aspect of it, not the machining aspect of it, post-processing, but we've made a considerable investment as well in ensuring that 3D printed product is meeting or exceeding our customers' expectations. And part of that equation is actually we've invested in a CT scanner, so we have the ability to CT scan our components, which has really been invaluable for us because we can actually peer inside of some of these very complex geometries that we can actually see if the outcome is actually what we're expecting. Can we navigate or can we recognize any potential defects or issues? So along those lines of traditional manufacturing metrology with CMMs and vision systems, we've also incorporated the CT scanning, which has definitely helped us to ensure that our products are meeting our customers' expectations for quality.
Thanks so much, Troy. I know we are short in time, so then.
No, I didn't see any more questions from the audience, but we can wrap it up if you like, unless you want to, ask some questions you might have planned or some other talking points you want to hit on.
Oh, I think we covered everything we want to go through. So Troy, if you don't have anything else.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else. Just really, just want to thank everyone for taking the time out to listen to our little journey that we've been on here for a few years. Again, we've got a lot yet to learn. We've had some success here, but by no means are we happy with where we're at. We want to continue to grow this technology. We want to continue to be that supplier that our customers can count on, and continue our relationship with 3D Systems and really kind of drive this market as much as we can. And just really thank everyone for their time.
Great. Thank you, Markus and Troy. It was a great presentation and discussion, and we certainly appreciate your perspective and expertise. I also want to thank our attendees. I hope you took away some valuable and insightful information. You can learn more about 3D Systems and their expertise at 3dsystems.com. So with that, I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks again for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.